Greetings! Chapter 12, Safety in the Workplace, Part 1. Thanks for coming to this online video lecture, and this is a result of my not being able to make it to class this week and needed to provide enough materials for you to make up the loss of the 4 hours in class. So I need to emphasize that you do click on and watch all the video links via YouTube within this lecture and go through the training modules so that you can address any and all questions in the final exam related to this lecture. At the end of this lecture, there may be more than one video. Just be sure you understand that. There is an online certification you are required to complete via a posted link or URL. That link is about human trafficking and what you need to be aware of in the industry. And as part of your safety in the workplace, that is a certification you can actually earn online. And it's quite eye-opening as to what human trafficking is all about. You will learn a lot from it. In this particular lecture, we're going to concentrate on the portion of the textbook that discusses safety in the workplace and the programs that should be in place in any workplace to ensure that the employees are able to work safely in their environment, as well as being aware of potential safety issues in the workplace itself. The text that is in the chapter textbook for the course that covers these particular materials run from pages 372 to 375, and that should take about anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes maximum to read. So the video link that is below is approximately 5 minutes. And it is a video of, I have to say, they are sort of funny, and they're workplace safety fails. So click on that link in your PowerPoint or your PDF or copy and paste it into the browser bar and watch it and get a little giggle out of it, put you in a good mood for the materials that are following. Oh, do not try these workplace safety actions at work. It could result in death or maiming. The Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1971 is the basis upon which the Occupational Safety and Health Administration standards and guidelines are enforced for workplace safety for all workers within the United States-based businesses, as well as potential safety for businesses that are headquartered in the USA and or are under U.S. jurisprudence. The OSHA website is located at, and the link is https://www.osha.gov. If you click on that link, it'll take you straight to the website, and it has some really rich information and resources about safety in the workplace, whistleblowers and how they can report unsafe workplaces, and other items. The OSHA website also has a quick 2-minute video that you can watch that showcases workers' rights in the USA. The link is noted right here in the middle of the page. Now, OSHA is part of the USA Department of Labor and also hosts the whistleblower program for employees who wish to report safety concerns or infractions. Now, I don't know if you knew this or not, but OSHA, as well as other government agencies, do offer cash rewards for reported infractions where it puts other people in danger or the company is defrauding the U.S. government. And the whistleblower protection program protects the employees who are providing the information that blows the whistle, so to speak, on the company But the Whistleblower Protection Program also pays cash awards for incidences where they are reporting things that the government believes are worth reporting on. OSHA has a 40-plus year history. It was established in 1971 through the Act, and since then OSHA and the state-level OSHA partners, coupled with efforts of employers, safety and health professionals, unions, and other advocates, have had a dramatic effect on improving workplace safety. Fatalities and injury rates have dropped markedly. Now, I guess you can understand that if the government is in charge of protecting the worker and there are laws in place and whistleblower programs in place also, this would help reduce the number of incidents, accidents, and deaths that are occurring on a regular basis in the workplace. Although accurate statistics were not kept in the 1970s, they believe that approximately 14,000 workers were actually killed on the job due to unsafe workplaces or workplace violence and other related incidents. That number did fall to approximately 4,340 by the year 2009. So that means about 20 or 30 years later, 10,000 lives were potentially saved over those years. At the same time, U.S. employment has almost doubled and includes over 130 million workers at more than 7.2 million work sites. So comparatively, the number of deaths have dropped by 10,000, even though the number of employees have doubled. So that is exponentially an improvement in safety in the workplace. Since the passage of the OSH Act, the rate of reported serious workplace injuries and illnesses have declined from 11 per 100 workers to 3.6 per 100 workers in 2009. So OSHA safety and health standards have been put in place, and that includes those for trenching, like ditch digging basically, machine guarding, where you have to basically lock out the on-off switch to protect people from turning the machines on while they're being worked on. Asbestos, where you have to wear protective gear to alleviate or pull asbestos materials out of a workplace. Benzene and lead, which can get into your blood and cause some issues, as well as bloodborne pathogens. And the bloodborne pathogens are related to health-related industries where needles and other bloodborne illnesses can be spread without using extreme care with biological hazards. So having these rules and health standards put in place have prevented countless work-related injuries, illnesses, and deaths. And that timeline really highlights some key milestones in occupational safety and health history since the creation of OSHA. So there is a OSHA video here that is an introduction to OSHA itself, and it runs approximately 17 minutes, so you can copy and paste this link into your browser and watch it, and or click on it if it's still a hot link in the PDF. Now, you don't necessarily need to be working in a highly dangerous business or company to know you need to be aware of safety issues. You could be working in a simple office environment, but if it snows, the sidewalk and the stairs leading up to the front door may become hazardous for walking with slippery ice on the sidewalks. So even though it's a safe office environment, it could still be hazardous for your health or your well-being. You could be working in a restaurant where water comes out of the faucets in the kitchen at high temperatures that could potentially scald you or burn your skin. So even though it's a benign workplace environment, there is still potential for danger. Believe it or not, businesses need to even be aware of potential issues with employees who telecommute or work for their home. One instance could be if an employee is working at their home or work computer, they get up to get a glass of water and then trips on their rug in their own home. That could potentially be a workers' compensation issue that the company may be required to compensate the employee for any injuries and or rehabilitation if the injury is that bad. So in a lot of cases, employees who telecommute, the companies may be wise to put in some kind of caveat into their hiring offer letter saying that the company will not be responsible for any injuries or health-related injuries that may occur in the worker's home. Human resources managers and representatives need to know and understand that the OSHA department and the reps do have a right to come into a workplace site and inspect that work site for potentially hazardous work conditions and safety issues. The top priority is for imminently dangerous situations. So, for example, if a worker notices that a gas cap is loose or some gas containers are not stored safely, who in turn reports it to a supervisor who then ignores it, then the employee may become worried for their own or their coworkers' safety. Now, they do have the right to report it to OSHA, who will send out an inspector immediately to respond to the complaint, make a report, and then immediately recommend any changes or actions to alleviate the danger or potential safety issues. Now, I want to say that the OSHA does have a probably understaffed workforce, so when I say immediately, it may not necessarily be within minutes or even days. It may take as long as a few weeks for the OSHA rep to get out. So it's best to try to alleviate the safety issue with the supervisor immediately before trying to report it to OSHA. If the identified safety issue is not resolved immediately, OSHA can insist on closure of the work site or even the company until the issue is resolved to a level of safety for which OSHA is comfortable. OSHA can also determine that the company should or needs to be fined, and that fine could be issued daily until the unresolved safety issues are cured or fixed according to what OSHA now considers a safer environment for the workers. Now, OSHA's second priority is to inspect and investigate fatalities and catastrophes that have resulted in 5 or more employees being hospitalized. The graphic below accounts for tasks and actions that OSHA will go through to collect data related to the accident or the occurrence. So the OSHA rep will come in on a fact-finding mission, and they're going to be collecting as much information as possible to determine what caused the accident, what could have been done to prevent it, what harm was created. So in the first bullet, it says they interview witnesses as soon after the accident as possible. So the reason they do this as soon after the accident as possible is in some cases they will require any employees that are directly related to the center of the incident or catastrophe to be sent to the lab for drug testing, alcohol testing to see if it was potentially an employee-caused incident. Then they will inspect the accident site before any changes can occur. So if there is an accident or an occurrence, the company is best action on their part is to tape off or prevent anybody from going into the area where the accident occurred so that OSHA can come in and do a complete investigation of what happened during the accident. If they find out later that the company went in and changed things around to make it look like it was not the company's fault when it really was, that could incur some tremendous fines and penalties for the company. OSHA will take photographs and sketches of the scene to show what was in place before or presumed in place and what happened after. They will record any pertinent data on maps, so they may sketch out a little floor plan of where the accident occurred or the incident happened and where basically the bodies fell or where the employees were harmed or where they ended up being after the incident. They will make copies of all the reports and promulgate them throughout all the pertinent supervisors at OSHA, as well as providing them to the company where the incident occurred. They will obtain documents from the company itself containing normal operating procedures, policies, procedures, maintenance charts, any reported abnormalities. So this is where the whistleblowers come in, is if there was a employee who made a complaint to OSHA or to the supervisors, that should be in the records about the potential hazardous portion. They will keep accurate notes in a bound notebook. They will record any pre-accident conditions, the accident sequence, and post-accident conditions. So at the top right-hand corner, you see a picture of a nuclear power plant, and if this were of the power plant in Japan during the tsunami, which actually was not a human error, it was the tsunami that caused the initial, but the secondary cause of the investigation and the accident was that there were not enough buttons to be pushed, or the humans did not stay behind to flick some switches to close the power plant down. And then they will document location of the victims, the witnesses, where the machinery was placed, any energy sources, electrical and otherwise, and where the hazardous materials were stored. OSHA's third priority is to investigate employees' complaints about unsafe workplace conditions. For example, if a restaurant has tile floors and does not place non-skid flooring on top of those tiles that may get slippery when wet to prevent workers from slipping if food or fluids are spilled on the floors, then the workers can complain to OSHA about the potential for the falling, slipping, or tripping. OSHA will come into the worksite and provide a recommendation to the company owner or business manager to alleviate the condition, or in this case to provide the non-slip surface, and this looks in the picture below like a rubber mat with open grids so that the water can spill through onto the tile floor, but prevent the worker from slipping because they've raised their feet above the actual wet fluid. Now, if the company ignores the recommendation and later an injury is injured after slipping, the company may be fined more than they normally would have been because they had been warned about the potential injury-causing conditions of the workplace. Now, when an accident or injury occurs, the company has 8 hours to report to OSHA any work-related deaths of workers or hospitalization of 3 or more workers directly to OSHA using Form 300. So this will report the accident, and this form could also be used in workers' comp reports, noting that the accident had occurred, the injury did occur to the employee, how many employees were harmed or hurt, and then those reports will be filed directly with OSHA. Okay, we'll do part 2 in a separate video.